Erik Erikson is a developmental psychologist and psychoanalyst. He is known for his theory on psychosocial development of human beings. There are 8 stages of development in Erikson's psychosocial theory. We will now go through each stage. Here are Erik Erikson's 8 stages of development. Trust versus mistrust occurs from birth to 18 months. Secure attachment happens when the baby trusts the caregiver for reliable care and affection. Lack of this leads to mistrust. Feeding is an important element in gaining trust. Mistrust occurs when the child cries and gets upset from lack of care and affection.
In this scene, we see the caregiver feeding the baby. This is where the trust is gained between the baby and caregiver due to caregiver giving the baby what they need. In this scene, we see the caregiver on her phone ignoring the baby, while the baby is trying to feed herself. This will lead to mistrust in later life due to the baby not being given the attention and care needed.
Autonomy versus shame and doubt occurs 1 to 3 years. In this stage, a child attempts to complete tasks alone to build self-esteem. Toilet training is a vital factor in this stage. If successful, it will lead to a feeling of autonomy. Shame and doubt can occur if the child is unsuccessful at this stage.
In this scene, we see the child being toilet trained by the caregiver, as this is a vital stage. As this is successful, it leads to a feeling of autonomy. In this scene, we can see that the child is unsuccessful at potty training and that the caregiver is not impressed by this. Due to it being unsuccessful, the child is now feeling shame.
Initiative versus guilt occurs at 3 to 6 years. This is where the child begins to complete their own actions. Guilt occurs when the child attempts to show initiative and fails or is rejected. If negative feedback is given to the child, they may feel a sense of guilt.
In this scene, we can see the child dressing themselves and learning to master a basic skill. Due to this, the caregiver praises the child, leading to initiative. In this scene, we can see the child not being able to dress themselves and the caregiver being disappointed by this and rejecting the child. This leads to the child feeling guilt.
Turn around, Hazel. Turn around. This is just not good enough. You're sulking. You'll not be accepted here.
Industry versus inferiority. School is an important factor in this stage, and if the child receives positive feedback, this results in industry. Inferiority arises when the child is unsuccessful.
In this scene, we can see the child counting from 1 to 10 and being praised by the caregiver. This results in industry. In this scene, we see the child not being able to count from 1 to 10 and not being praised by the caregiver because of being unsuccessful at this task. This shows inferiority.
Identity versus role confusion. This involves a child trying to identify a sense of personal identity. Role confusion occurs if the child lacks in developing a sense of identity.
In this scene, we see a teenager trying out a pair of glasses that she would like to wear. This shows her wanting to gain control of her own identity. We see the teenager showing her friend the glasses she would like to wear, and we see her friend making fun of her because she wanted to wear them. We see her starting to feel upset about this, leading to her confusion.
Intimacy versus isolation occurs between 19 and 40 years. People become more intimate with others. Isolation occurs when the person avoids intimacy. This can lead to loneliness.
In this scene, we see a group of friends socialising and becoming closer together. This results in intimacy.
So girls, you going out the weekend?
Yeah.
I'm so getting stressed.
Oh, I saw
serious.
it on the Friday. It's so really.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's class.
Love it.
In this scene, we see two of the friends chatting and becoming closer, where the third friend is being left out in the cold and not being included. This leads to isolation.
Generativity versus stagnation occurs between 40 and 60 years. During this stage, we establish our careers, settle down and start our families. Stagnation occurs when the person is self-centred and unwilling to give back to society.
In this scene, we see a successful woman working on her laptop, getting a lot of work done. As she employed, she is giving back to society. This shows generativity. In this scene, we see a woman unemployed sitting there watching television instead of having a job, and she's also being unwilling to get a job. This is an example of stagnation.
But after he saw that music video, everything changed. He says the video is too erotic, and he now believes Tamika is doing more than just working. He thinks she's cheating. Duane needs a lie detector test to find out if this really all is work or just play. Take a look.
Integrity versus despair occurs between 65 and death. We contemplate our achievements and develop integrity if we see ourselves as leading a successful life. Despair occurs if we feel guilty about our past and didn't achieve our life goals.
We see an old woman looking at a photo album, looking back over her life, laughing and smiling at all her memories she made over the years. This shows integrity. In this scene, we see the elderly woman looking back over her life while looking at her photo album. She is clearly upset at what she sees, as she felt her life was unproductive and must feel guilty that she did not accomplish much in her life.